Hi folks, and welcome to their Saturday Morning Samoflange. I'm Matt, and with me is Bernardo from Tabletop Island.
Hey.
What's up, man?
Not much, man. It's been a little bit.
Oh man, it's been a lot of bit. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's great.
Well, you know, after the retro gamer, it's all downhill from here.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding. I wanted Bernardo to come on because originally we were supposed to meet up for the first time. It was going to be an epic comic book crossover with the both of us. It's going to be a team-up series. And we're going to go down to BGG Spring Con and have a blasty blast. He had a list of games. I had a list of games. We shared some common interests in those games. And other games we're going to go our own way for a little bit. We're going to just weave in and out throughout the thing, and I was really looking forward to it. My nephews were really looking forward to meeting you. They have become fans of your channel too, because I showed them some of the videos. They're interested in the magic. You know, I think my nephew has aspirations of being a magician, and so I think he was thinking about sitting next to you, you know, and soaking up some of that Yoda wisdom.
It's a lot to take in, but I mean, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But but anyway, it didn't get to be, and we automatically are defaulted tickets to next year, which a whole year. But it is what it is. So I wanted to go ahead and just do our top 10 games we wanted to play. Now, full disclosure, folks, my top 10 has radically changed because I ended up going ahead and buying a couple of these games. And did yours change any?
Yeah, mine's changed quite a bit too. There were some that I ended up buying. Also, There's still one that I bought on my list, but I don't know when I'm ever going to get it out.
Right, and we're going to talk about that sooner than later, because we're going to go ahead and get with any honorable mentions out of the way. I don't have many, but the one honorable mention it may be on your list. So never mind, we'll talk about it later. It is on your list. I forgot about that. Now, besides that, we haven't talked about any of our top 10.
Okay.
I mentioned something, and that's kind of we try not to talk about people's top 10 here. And we usually do a top 5, but this is a special one. We're going to do a top 10 here. And so these are top 10 games we were looking forward to. You know what? I'm going to go first.
Go for it.
No, you know what? I'll let you go first. I should let you go first. You're the guest. Dude, what's number 10?
Okay, so my list is kind of a mix. I'm one of the board gamers who's still relatively new and didn't get a chance to play a lot of classics. So my number 10 is actually Feast for Odin. I've been wanting to play this for a while, but I don't have a board game group that I think would enjoy playing it if I didn't already know how to play to teach them. So that's number 10 for sure. I'm very excited to play
Yuri Rosenberg, that's probably one of his most famous games right now. I think that's a lot of people's number one game I see is Feast for Odin.
I've heard so many great things about it, and it's one of the last two on my list are classics, and that's one of them.
Okay, well, Yuri Rosenberg does a lot of big games. He is not popular within my gaming group either. I only have two of his games. The two that I absolutely adore is At the Gates of Loyang, which is just a phenomenal game. It's underrated by him. Not many people talk about it, but it's a great game. You're a Chinese farmer growing all these crops, and it's so much fun. And then the other one that I love even more, and it's even less known, is Mercator. And Mercator, you are going to different areas in the world and trading and getting different goods. These cubes can be 3 different things depending on what country you get it from. And your player board, you put the cube in that locker space. But you can't keep it for too long because eventually some of those lockers are going to, expire and go rotten. You're going to have to throw that food out, the perishable goods out. So you can't, it stops you from hoarding as well. You always got to sell. You can't be hoarding up too much. And you're trying to trade up. And there's 2 ways the game will end. Usually it's timed because the timing round is usually what always ends it. But this past year, I finally ended the game in a way I never thought could end. If you get the last trade, it's like a level 14 trade. If you can get up to that, the game automatically ends, and you automatically win too.
Oh, wow.
But it's really hard to do. I have tried it a billion times. The closest I ever got was 1 step away, and I was like, this is impossible. But it just so happened that the situation presented itself where not because every time someone travels to certain places, you eat up time, and time is shared. And I was like, Dad, gummit, time goes so fast in this game. But that's good, when you want to play more rounds. And but this time, everyone was really taking their time, not trying to spend so much of the the group time. And I was like, I think I can do this. And sure enough, it was the last play of the game. I got the Piece of Westphalia is what it's called, and I won the game. I could not believe, everyone couldn't believe I got it because they didn't think I could get that trade. And I was like, I did it. I cannot believe it. And I love Mercator. I love it so much. Hate Agricola. Played it. Fell asleep actually at Gen Con playing the game.
I've not played that. I see it everywhere.
There's so much analysis paralysis in it, and I was bored to death. My friends, they know when it's a Uwe Rosenberg game. I won't tell them anymore, but they do not like Mercator. They do not like At the Gates of Loyang. And so,
wow.
Thankfully, they forget when I bring it out the next year. But very quickly this past year, someone said, wait, is this that UWE guy that I hate? And I went, yes. He went, I knew it. This game is just like, I said, no, it's not like him. No, you don't know his game. So Feast for Odin, I have zero interest in playing because I heard it was like Agricola on steroids or it's top notch. But I'll be honest, you would have a nephew joining you at the table because he would definitely be into all that. It looks massive, and I know no game is overly complicated, so I'm sure you could get that in the swing of that game. But I know that I played Agricola, and I've looked at Caverna, and I could not get into that either. And some of his big games, I'm just not a big fan of. But I am in the vast minority there because I'm not kidding. I see Feast for Odin at the top of everyone's board game list, so that's a good pick.
Fair. Yeah, it was between that and Stone Age was another one, but they kind of
make your list.
It didn't.
Okay,
I did, but last minute I changed it.
Stone Age is simple worker placement, and I absolutely love it because you can go around that board like 3 times. It is if you get the right huts and everything. It is such a fun. It is basic worker placement, but it is just the fun factor is definitely there. Okay, my number 10 was one that you convinced me to play. I'm only going to play this with you because I don't see where the fun factor is in it, but you swear up and down that Escape the Curse of the Temple is phenomenal. This is a dice chucking game where you're dice chucking and running through the temple. To me, it seems like a headache and a mess. And you said, no, it is full fun. And it's a queen game, so I'm willing to give it a try. And it comes recommended from you who have recommended some good games. So that was one that I was looking forward to you sitting down at the table. We're going to play the big box version because I wanted to see everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I was ready to go for it. So, but I mean, that's still one I can put on my list. But I've got to play that game before I will not buy that game until I play it and enjoy it. But like I said, it's got 2 things going for it. You recommended it, and it's a queen game because I love queen games.
Yeah, Luke is another fan of that game. I actually have it in my room on the floor. It's a solo game too, so I've been playing it just to test out some of the expansions I didn't get to try.
Well, yeah, because you're running. It is a solo game. It can be played solo very well, in fact, I guess, as you're going through yourself. So I can see some of the appeal to it. I just was like, man, that seems like a headache. People yelling, screaming, moving through tiles.
Oh, there's no talking. That's the funny part. You think there's a lot of communication in this game, and there should be, but there just isn't. You have to be so quick and so focused on what you're doing.
But aren't you aren't you trapped in certain tiles, and someone else has to give you one of their emblems to get you out or something like that? Isn't that?
That's only if you lock your dice. If you lock your dice, you need somebody else to help unlock those dice. But in terms of like moving, you want to keep together in some instances, but not everybody, because you still want to cover a lot of ground. So it's really intense.
Like I said, if this game would have been a hit for me, then I would have bought it right in front of you. I would have bought that game, the big box version. I'd have bought it immediately if I'd have liked it.
I'll make you love that game.
I'm telling you. All right, so what's your number 9?
So my number 9 is actually PAX Premier 2nd Edition. I did end up backing this on Kickstarter. I wasn't going to get it till September, and I knew that ahead of time. But I really want to get it to the table because I bought it because it looks beautiful, and the game concept is just so unique and so entertaining and interesting to me. I just don't know if I will have if my board game group will even kind of go for that kind of game based on some of the stuff we've played. So it'll be hard for me to find a board game group, but I couldn't pass it up. I had to have it.
Now, see, this is what's interesting about your choices here, and I love this. You're picking games that you know your board game group generally will not play, but you are really interested in. Now, I get that because you're like me when I first went to Gen Con. There's a lot of games. My board game group wouldn't play anything but zombies, which is a great roll and move play cards game. But it was simple, and I was like, I think there's better games out there. And I was looking at all these other games. This is great. But I knew my board game group was not ready for any of those games yet because they would. I mean, there was a time, Bernardo, where when we would play zombies every Friday night. Every Friday night we played zombies. And we played a different expansion every Friday. That was the tradition. You always played zombies. You don't play any of the game. And then
it was like me and Super Fight.
And then, And I would say, hey, look. We're going to play this one game, and then we're going to play zombies. Okay, but first we got to play this one game. So we play that one game. They go, okay, can we play zombies now? Yes, we'll play zombies. But then it got to be one night where we didn't play zombies. We played two different games. We played it, and then we played zombies every other. And so I weaned them off zombies, which now they do want to play zombies because it's just been so long. But they do enjoy all the games that come in. They're very open to games now. But it took me a while to crowbar them out of just zombies every day. But yeah, so I know exactly how you feel. You're going for the games that you're like, hey, let me see games that I'm interested in.
Oh yeah.
My number 9 is a game that I have almost bought several times. I think it's been on clearance a couple of times, and I see it for really cheap online at times. It's called Broadhorns: Early Trade of the Mississippi. And this one, you're on a boat. You do have goods. Again, they are set to expire, kind of like Mercator, so you can only go a further distance. The further you go down, the more money you're going to get, but you need to watch your trade thing. It's kind of in a way, it's pick up and deliver. It is that, but it's a little push your luck too, of course, because you're trying to get to a place before your goods, go sour. And when do you cut your losses and just pull into the next port to sell what you can, even though you may not get top dollar for it? Now, this game looks interesting. It looks interesting. There's been a few things that's held me back because it feels like the game is a little slow, maybe clunky at times when the parts I've seen online. But I still, for some reason, I keep going back to it because they got these little barrels that are different colored shapes and colors, like pink barrels are meat, brown barrels are tobacco or whatever. I was like, you know what, though? I kind of dig the look of this game. And, you're sailing down the Mississippi, making trade back in the early days. I was like, I like I like themes. I like historic themes, and I was like, man, I'm kind of digging that game. And it only came out 2 years ago, but already it went straight on sale because it's a game for me because it sailed under everyone's radar. No one talked about it. And now it's kind of a newer game that's been forgotten. And that's where I shine. I like to find those games that have been forgotten and see if they're any good. And a lot of times they can be good. They just got overshadowed by other games. But that's one of them that I feel just got overshadowed, maybe. And I don't want to buy it. Like I said, I've been tempted to several times, but just didn't pull the trigger on it. And but I'm interested in playing it. If I play it and love it, I think that'd be one I'd easily add to my collection.
Yeah, that's tricky. Me and pick up and deliver, I told you about that. It's very rare. I think only recently did one pick up and deliver board game just completely blow me out of the water, and that was terrible low. But yeah, no, that's that's interesting though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Terraforming Mars. I've heard this game up and down a million times. I've heard good things. I've heard bad things. I honestly just want to get it to the table. The game's pretty pricey for me to just throw money at it, even though it's a solo game and it's on a lot of people's top lists. I can't always go by that because I'm not the biggest fan of like a lot of the voting systems online and stuff like that. It doesn't seem to appeal to me most of the time when I play a lot of the games on those lists. So it's one I want to dive into because I'm really interested in the whole kind of life on Mars, kind of building upon civilization. So I do like that idea. I'm not convinced it's going to be great, and I'd be interested in meeting some people. I would be interested in meeting people at like a convention that can kind of guide me through maybe some expansions to start with, and just people that know how to play the game. that's what I'd be interested in playing.
I'm going to tell you, you have a very solid list. I think everyone's going to say that when they hear you. Anyone who knows about board games, you have a solid list. I'm going off games no one's ever heard of or no one cares about, and you're going
Oh,
after
I
some
got
big
some. I
heavy
got some.
hitters.
Oh yeah, I got some you're not gonna know
Well,
about.
you're going after some big heavy hitters. Your list is going to be loved by a lot of people. My next one, my number, where are we? 8 now?
Yes.
Yes. My
Yep.
number 8 is called Ishtar, Gardens of
Oh,
Babylon. Have you know about this game?
I do. I do. I've heard good things about it.
I have. See, and here's the deal. This is why I've never bought the game. I came close once. It has a rondelle, which I love rondelles. I
Hmm.
absolutely love rondelles. Unfortunately, it has tile placement. Not a big fan. And
Really? You don't like tile placement?
not really a tile placement guy. I have a
Okay.
few tile placement games in my collection. I do that I enjoy. What was one I just played? Maharani. I do enjoy that. I'm not going to play Azul because it's very similar to Maharani. And even though Azul is way more popular, I'm happy with Maharani. It is a queen game. And,
Yeah. I've
but
not played Azul either, and I see so many pictures online of it. It makes me not want to play
yeah,
it.
the
Between
game
that
does
and
not appeal to me. And
yeah.
Maharani looks a lot better. It's got a better theme. It's Queen Games, which of course I'm going to love. And we just recently played that a few weeks ago, and I still enjoy the strategy there because you don't get to always place the tile you really want. And with Maharani, there are these coins that you flip over, and you can place the tile in a section that you want to. Sometimes you get stuck on the board where this tile has to go in that section unless you have a
Yeah.
coin. Well,
I
one of your
remember
actions,
your review.
yeah, one of your
Yeah.
actions is flipping over all your coins. I went, well, that's stupid. Who would do that? We do that all the time. We do that all. I was like, wow, this is so smart. It's a way smarter game than people give credit for. Well, Ishtar, it looks great. It looks great. I like
Mhm.
getting the jewels to do the special actions. I mean, there's a. I should also say engine building, I guess, too, because you're powering up your whatever your player board. But because of the tile placement, I'm like, I need to play this one first, just in case, because I'm not really a tile placement guy. But but I love the rondelle, man. I can't get away from a rondelle. But Ishtar was one I was really looking forward to try out because that's another game that's kind of flown under the radar. You don't hear much about it. It looks beautiful.
Mhm.
I'll say that. It looks absolutely
It
stunning.
does. I almost played it at PAX Unplugged last year.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't get a chance to.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that is my number 8 there. So number 7, sir. What other big famous game are you ready for?
So this one is the one I just recently bought because it has a great solo mode I've been hearing. So I took a plunge and a risk. But it's Sierra West. I've been wanting to play this for a while. I feel like my real desire for it was when I saw Brothers Murph kind of overhype the game. It felt like, but it seemed like they had reason to. He talked about the artwork. He was like, "Man, I looked at it and I just knew it was gonna be my favorite game." I was looking at the videos. I'm like, "This artwork's all right," but when I actually opened it up and took a look at the artwork, it's actually just astonishing. It up close, I clearly didn't get a good look at it. The artwork alone, I'm very happy to own the game. But I'm interested in understanding it. It has like 5 different modes in the game and different ways you can play it while still keeping the same feel of the game. And, oh, it's such a neat idea, and the fact that it has, again, from what I've been hearing, a fantastic solo mode. I had to take a dive, especially with this quarantine going on, for sure.
Yeah, and that a good review can sell you on that game.
Could.
You're so right on that. So when the Brothers Murph do their review, you're like, man, that game seems fun. Those guys seem fun. That's and so yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. I understand how that can just kind of influence you to go, you know what, I'll try this out. I'll give it a shot. I don't care.
Yeah.
I like those guys. Good pick there. My number, we're at 7 now.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 7. I don't have these things listed. I just found out. My number 7 is the only quote unquote new game. The game came out just recently, this past year, that I have on my list. And I almost backed this on Kickstarter, backed out last minute, said, no, I don't need it. But I still want to play it. Chocolate Factory.
What is that?
Chocolate Factory.
Don't get
Basically,
me excited.
you are taking cocoa and you're making chocolates out of it. And the more you refine the chocolate, the better the higher the value it is. You're fulfilling customer orders with your nougat, with your I can't remember what the highest brand is, but you're but you're feeling, and there's different candies you're making, chocolate candies you're making, and you have this conveyor belt. You have these action points that you're moving it through, but you're also engine building because your conveyor belt, you're going to make it do special things. Wrap the candy, upgrade the candy. 2 regular cocoa beans turn into a regular chocolate bar. That chocolate bar turns into a chocolate wrapper. That chocolate wrapper turns into a chocolate bonbon if you can make it go up that high. And then you're fulfilling contracts for victory points from Chocolate Factory. It looks fantastic. But I can't remember what it was that held me back from it. Like I said, you're just moving it down a conveyor belt, upgrading your conveyor belt to do different things. You checking it out?
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures.
Yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool?
It is cool.
Yeah, so Chocolate Factory was the newest game on that list that I do want to give a try out, because like I said, I almost backed on Kickstarter. I didn't. And I don't regret it. I just want to play that game first. Because I said, this is one I need to play first. But this is the only, new game.
That's cool.
But, of course, I am enticed by the theme, man.
Yeah, I love that.
I love you and I share that, I think. We love unique themes. And a theme of making chocolate candy. Yeah, dude, I am all about that. Bring on.
If you would have said Willy Wonka, I would have been like, "Yo, where we gotta get this?"
Exactly. You're having to make a everlasting Godstopper. That's the highest value.
Oh my gosh,
that's actually pretty smart. They probably should have done that, but might would have bought it then. But anyway, it looks decent enough. Check that game out. Tell me what you think, because it does look interesting, and it's a brand new game. Either it's coming out, because I know the Kickstarter came out last year, but I think the retail version either just came out this year or late last year, or it's coming out. I can't remember. I haven't checked it in a while, but I said, no, this is a game I need to play first. Now, of course, the chocolates can be light blue, can be red, and that's because they couldn't just do different shapes, even though I argued that they could. But they just did different wrappings, I guess, for it. But still, it looks interesting. You're taking raw cocoa beans and then turning it into either a chocolate bar, or a chocolate sweet, or a chocolate bonbon, or whatever. I can't remember what the highest ranking is, but
and the pieces look like chocolate pieces.
I want to eat
like
them.
Wafers.
And you can.
Right?
What I want to get some Russell Stover's chocolates and just play with that. Unfortunately, I would be eating them all by the game was over.
It's so fun. Oh, I love it. And they're made of wood, which is such a classic. I love
classic? It. I'm glad. Look at me showing you a game for once. What a fantastic turn of events that was. Okay, so what is we're at number 6 now.
All right, so 6 is a game I first wanted, and then I didn't want because all of the reviews were saying maybe I shouldn't want it. Then I looked back at it and I wanted it again, and I've just gone back and forth with it. It is called Alone. This is a game that was on Kickstarter. I'm not 100% sure who produced the game. I'd have to double check on that. But basically the premise of the game is one person plays kind of the hero who's dungeon crawling in the dark, in this dark almost spaceship. And what happens is the other players are playing the aliens and the kind of antagonists of the game. So they have their own little board that's hiding, and they can kind of set up where they want their little traps and stuff to happen. And I have to quickly go through to, I believe it's activate certain chambers to allow this ship to take off or something along those lines.
What's this called again?
It's called Alone.
Alone. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's cool because you don't see the board. So only they know how the board looks. So I say I'm going to walk forward. They lay out the tile and I move forward. There may or may not be kind of a monster there, so I have to be wary because I have a gun but I only have so many bullets and things like that. So so maybe I want to cut the lights on, because if I don't cut the lights on, then there's a chance that something can have advantage and hurt me more. So there's a lot of back and forth, but while it seems like there's a lot of heavy weight on the aliens, which I've heard that back and forth too, I've watched a few playthroughs and I didn't feel like that. It just felt like if you had too many people playing the villain, because it could be, I believe, 3-on-1, I think that's not fun because it's really just them going against you. Right. I think as a 2-player game, though, this might be a really solid game. One person getting in the mind of the other, maybe even 2-on-1. But I think if you have any more than that, it might just really feel like you're being attacked and might take out the experience on that game. But it's such a beautiful game. The miniatures are fantastic. One thing that really sold me on the game, which I'm sad I didn't get to the Kickstarter at the time, but they actually had a full-on 3D tile pieces that you can put through, and I could have painted like a big 3D kind of ship-looking thing that gets put together in pieces. Now, that would have been really expensive, but I did find an alternative way that I can kind of build my own, so I'm going to be doing that if I enjoy the game, but I do want to play it first unless I find a crazy deal because it is a bit pricey.
Yeah. It's funny that's your number 6. My number 6 is in the same book. It's very pricey. If it ever gets on every once in a while it goes up for on an auction on BGG, and I'm like, ooh, but then someone bends it immediately. So it's obviously a popular game, an old popular game. We're talking about 15 years old, I think. The game is called Goa. Goa is an auction bidding kind of game, kind of push your luck as you're trying to collect spices across this board. And it's got these nice little spice wood tokens that are different colors. The cards, the art are very plain Jane looking, but it's not exactly a turn off. It's just that everyone says this game is awesome, awesome, awesome. Rado from Rado Runs Through loves it, and I'm like, oh, I want to love this game, but it looks a little plain Jane. And I don't know if it's going to offer me. And I love auction bidding games. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, same.
And you're trying to grab cards on the board. It's a little bit of hand management too, I guess you could say. And I don't know though. I really want to play this game because that's a lot of cheddar to be throwing down. Even when it's quote unquote on auction, you're still getting it for like $30-$40, and it doesn't look like it's worth $30-$40. Looking at the art and everything, it doesn't have that much money in it. But if it's if it's a solid game, then yeah, of course it's going to be worth that money. And just like you, I'm like, I just don't know if I want this game. I know it's very popular, but that doesn't mean I want it. I do look at one thing that somewhat describe. I'm going to bust this analysis here in a minute, but I a lot of times I look at, when you look at Board Game Geek, you look at this board game. Do you ever look at games people also like? You ever look at that?
I have. I've never really seen things that really feel like they go with that.
I do that all the time. And I'm like, okay, if it has 5 games that I like, then it's worth looking into. If it has any more than that, it's definitely worth a look. If it has 10 games or more that I like, then I may want to look at buying it. This one has 8 similar games that I enjoy. So that means it's pretty good. Yeah. It's definitely worth checking out. And even though it looks plain Jane, that doesn't... Because I have some plain Jane looking games that are... what did I play just recently? Pizarro and Company. No, Magellan and Company. I think it's called Magellan. It's also called Pizarro and Company. And I think that's what I have the name under. And it's just, the artwork is just old, dated, sleepy. But it is a nice little auction game, bidding game that I just have fun with. We just have fun with when we play. There's not much to it, though. I'm having a feeling that Goa is the same type of game. Like it's going to be fun, but there's not much to it. If that's the case, I'm going to keep with Pizarro and Company, and I'm going to let Goa go its own way. Haha, pun intended there. Go away. But if Goa is actually good, I would probably consider picking it up. But that's probably out of all my... Let me check and make sure before I say this. That's probably the most quote-unquote popular game, most well-known game on my list. It is, by far, the most well-known game on my list for board gamers. And I thought I'd give it a try at number 6. All right, so we're halfway through here. All the games we could have played. Here we go. What is your number 5?
My number 5 is one that I passed up a Kickstarter on because it was too pricey, and the Kickstarter came out in November and was telling me I wasn't going to be able to get my game until March of 2021. That was not okay for me. Nah, I can't wait that long. I'm that impatient. I'll just be like, I'll overpay on eBay before I wait that long. And you just take my, but it's called Subterra. Subterra is a game where you're kind of going through what seems to be almost like a dungeon that can fill up with water, things like that. And it has the ability to have different characters that have different abilities. It reminds me of a game that I actually bought that I enjoy called Room 25, which each character has their own ability, and you're kind of moving through rooms to using your special ability as an advantage to get through I guess, dungeon or temple or whatever it is. The reason why I was so interested in it from the Kickstarter created a new theme for it. It's an Indiana Jones style theme where the place is getting flooded by lava. Oh my gosh, I want that so bad. I'm going to wait until it comes out on eBay because you better believe I'm going to buy it. It looks fantastic.
I've heard of the game, yeah. I haven't really looked into it, but I've heard of that game. But
Yeah.
that is definitely up your alley there. By your description there, I already know it's where a game you automatically, your ears perk up and go, what's
telling
this?
you, man. It was hard. $200 up front to wait 2 years? I can't do that.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I'd have to back out of that one too.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm going to be in 2 years. I might not like that game.
You never know. Never know. My number 5 is a game that I've danced around. This is the game I told you about right before we went on the podcast. I told you I almost included it in a trade I just made because the game's not worth anything. I said they would throw it in there. I said, but what if the game sucks? Because I said I really want to play this. I don't want to waste a game trade on it. It's not that good. But it's called Around the World in 80 Days.
Like based off the movie?
I guess.
Or
the
book?
book. I don't know. But you're a top hat moving around this board. You spend money, then you land on certain areas to make money. You can spend on certain places. You can say, hey, I bet I will be, you say first, second, third, or fourth. And if you are first, second, third, or fourth place by the end of that round, you will get X amount of money for being right. But you don't know what the other players are going to do. Maybe they'll sacrifice and they won't pass you up at first. Just so you won't get that extra money. You do have to make 2 stops in certain areas on the board to get rid of some of your rumor cards, these little newspapers. It's really kind of weird. But you're just spending money and then getting money to move. And the more spaces you move, the more expensive it is. And of course, you're trying to get the first person to be around the world in 80 days, but you also have to do it with only $10 or less left. You have to cross the finish line at borderline broke. Which is interesting because, again, you're thinking, oh, well, Matt, this is easy. I just save up as much money as I can, and then I blow everyone away. No, because then you'll come in more at $10, and you can't win the game that way. It's kind of like, have you ever played Mississippi Queen or seen my review on it?
I've seen your review. I am aware of the game. I've seen a few people's review. I've not played it.
It got a reprint just recently, and I didn't get it because I have the original version, but Mississippi Queen is just such a great game because I call it the slowest racing game in the world. You're trying to race around down the Mississippi River. The game is incredibly fast, but you have to slow down to the lowest level to pick up 2 passengers at 2 separate times. And if you need more coal, which is in the expansion, and the new version includes the expansion, but if you need more coal, you have to slow down again to a 1 to get more coal. Coal helps you burn, speed up faster or slow down faster. But at the end of the race, you have to get to the dock at a speed of a 1. Why? Because you can't blow into there at speed of a 6. That's your top speed. You'll wreck the ship crashing into the deck. So you have to slowly over your turns get slower as you get to the finish line. It's smart because everyone else is trying to push ahead through, and if they have enough coal, they can hit the brakes real quick. But you need to be careful because you could slam into someone else. It's just such an amazing game, but Around the World in 80 Days seems to be that way. It's a little mathy, but I'm told not heavy mathy, just plus and minus, But I said, I don't know if that game's going to be, like everyone who reviews it says, that's a neat idea, and then they go, okay, and then it's not really something that blew them away, but they like the idea. They thought it was cute. Well, that may be a game that's up for me, or it may just be a neat idea. I don't know, but I want to check it out. Like I said, game is super cheap. I see it super cheap everywhere, and I'm like, I think if I want a copy, I can get one for like $3 at one time. I even saw someone doing an auction, trying to get rid of it. Because, obviously people are like, it may be just a one-trick pony, maybe after that's over, it's you don't really have, the game can be different depending on how many squares you land and how much money you have and where other players are landing too. So the game seems to have some replayability in it, but still, I'd like to play it first. And if I like it, I can get a cheap copy. The most I've seen it for is like $10, I think. So, $3 was only once I've seen it, but $5, yeah, you can get that game for pretty cheap. And like I said, I almost had it included in the trade, but I didn't want to waste one of my games on that one, just in case it was bad. But I still want to try it out, Around the World in 80 Days. All right, so number 4 for you.
Number 4 is Project Elite. I did not know about this game when that Kickstarter was out. I was very sad when I heard that I missed out on it. But you better believe it's been pushed back a million times by Simon Games. Obviously, things going on or whatever is going on. Basically, people haven't gotten it yet. So I haven't been able to buy it off someone off eBay yet.
Right now, it comes out in July. I did the all-in package. I got the original Kickstarter, which I wasn't part of, but I bought off someone from England. And they thought the game was going to be released retail. Of course, it didn't. He infamously really screwed up the Kickstarter bad and angered a lot of people. He did get the orders out, but it just shut him down. Shut down the game designer, and he kind of was burned out for a while. But it was such an incredible game. It was my board game group hates co-ops. They will play Project Elite all day, every day. That is the one exception rule there. My wife does not like. She only likes the vintage games I play. She doesn't like any of my regular games. Project Elite is the one of the very few exception of games she will always play with me. But my wife breaks the rule. She makes sure she picks her weapon of choice. She always gets her character and her weapon of choice because that's what she does best in. And she will not give up that weapon for anything. She cracks me up, but she is honestly one of the best players in the game too. She has taken out all 3 mega bosses, which in the original game is tough. That game, if you like, and here's the other thing, I don't like getting kicked in the balls when I play a game. And that's all that Project Elite does. It kicks you in the balls every time.
Oh, yeah.
Every card that's played is like a nut punch. And you're like, come on. But the thing is, though, you absolutely cannot believe the first time you play that game. I would play that game with you. I would play that game with you because it is amazing. It is amazing. You're
and I love real-time games.
Yes, it's a real-time game. You are screaming, rolling dice. You're asking for help. You're throwing pieces off the board. Like people complained about the first Kickstarter, saying, "Oh, the plastic molds are not that good. The figures are not that good." And I was like, "No, they're great because you know what you're doing? You're chucking them across the room. Seriously." You throw them off because you gotta keep rolling because it's timed.
Oh yeah,
you're basically just flicking them off the board. You don't care where they land, and they're made of some tough plastic. You can step on them and smash them; they're not going to break, But it's just such a fun game. Absolutely, I actually bought some extra dice off someone who broke up busted a copy, and I can play now with 6 players, and we will, because it's just so much fun. And the Simon version looks amazing.
I know. I can't do the original because I saw the Simon one. It just looks
it looks
great.
Amazing.
And I took a look at the rule book from a few people that I heard was working on it, and it doesn't look like he ruined anything for it.
It looks like great. They perfected a few things. I'm hoping they did a good job with it. I've never liked a Simon game. That's not to say I've tried them all, but the ones I've looked at they look like pretty little figures and zero gameplay. Christophus, or whatever his name is, the designer, is involved, and he's worked on a little perfections there. And the game looks beautiful. I've seen some of the gameplay. I want to see a little bit more, but it doesn't matter. It's Project Elite. I have to get it. I even convinced one of my buddies who doesn't get that many board games. I said, "Look at this game." He went, "I just spent." I said, "I know, I did too. You went all in." He went, "I did." I mean, we got everything. We got everything. When that box comes in July, hopefully it's still July, I'm going to be the happiest person in the world. I'll never get through all the stuff they have included in it, but some of those miniatures look up. I couldn't help it. I had to get everything.
Oh my gosh, they do. And I'm thinking about the last thing I need is another game with miniatures because I don't like playing them if they're not painted because now I know how to paint.
Oh, you're gonna die. But that game, I don't know about the new version. I'm sure it's gonna be good. But the old version is solid. It's solid. The only reason it slipped on my top 100 this past year, and I said this is the one thing, you don't have the freedom to pick the gun you need to start off with. So you could have a short range fighter with a long range gun. You're like, well, this is not good, and he wouldn't start with that gun. He wouldn't pick up that gun. So I think you should pick your own gun. And that's kind of a house rule we've kind of made. But I do like the randomness because that changes up your strategy too. But my wife insists that she gets to pick the gun she wants. And I get that because if you have a close range gun, if you're a close range person, you need a close range gun. If you're a long range person, you want a long range gun. I get it. I get all of it. So I was like, but I still go random. I'm still a fan of the random. But at sometimes though, you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot get the right gun I want. But why would people want certain guns? That's the thing. You have to get creative. I think it forces you to be creative with some of these guns you would never use. Because if everyone got to pick, why would anyone pick some of the crappy guns or what I think are crappy?
That's fair.
But the thing is, though, that's the only problem I have about the game. Plus, of course, it has no more expansions. But that game is tough. You play it on easy, we're going to win about 75% of the time. 75%. Medium, we're winning 50% of the time. Hard, I've never won. I've never won hard. You have to be a liar. You say, oh yeah, all my dice were hits that round. I think you have to be a liar to say you won on hard. But I mean, and then they have an extreme level in the old version, and I can't imagine how you would last one level in the extreme. I've played this game on easy. We lost the first round on easy. I mean, sometimes it is just vicious. You can lose at the drop of a hat, but that's one of the great things about that game. That is a phenomenal game. When I first played that Gen Con, my brain, I think I told you this, my brain fell out of my skull. I was just so impressed.
Told me.
Impressed. You're going to love that game when you play it.
Oh, yeah.
What a great pick. Number 4 for me is not as epic. Tasty Minstrel Games came out with a little, I don't know what it is, tile collecting game? I don't know, but it's called Ghost of the Moor. Just a little simple, you're moving, taking the tile you're under as you're moving through, trying to get around through the swamp, collecting ghost, and get into the Jeep to collect points and win. Of course, you're trying to collect items, and you're leaving ghost. And if someone has to step on that tile, then they have to get a ghost. They get negative points. So it's kind of like...
What is it called?
Ghost of the Moor. Just a simple little game from Tasty Minstrel Games. There's times I've been wanting to pick it up, but I was like, no, because I have a game very similar to it called Atlantis from Mayfair Games, and we love Atlantis. And Atlantis is a pretty solid game from Mayfair. And I was like, well, Ghost of the Moor seems just like a retheme of this, but I like Atlantis, so maybe another... I don't know what to call this type of game, but maybe another game similar to that is what I need in my collection, or do I? Like I said, that's why I wanted to play it. But it just looks neat. Watch Rado. Rado does a quick little run through for the game, and it looks really cool. But it's called Ghost of the Moor from Tasty Minstrel. I do enjoy Tasty Minstrel Games. That is one of the Queen Games, Tasty Minstrel Games, and we talked about this, Renegade, right? Are the games that when I see those names on a board game, I'm going to stop and give it a second look. Because those are publishers that have a pretty good track record with me. So I'll always see what they got. But that's one of the games that I just like. That looks kind of neat. I'd like to play that just to see. But I got to see first before I buy it.
Looks like it glows in the dark too, which is kind of cool.
Well, it does, but it looks like it does. Yeah, the colors and everything, but I don't think it does. But that would be cool.
No, a picture shows it like glowing in the dark.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, shut up! I didn't even know that. Well, see, now it's even extra special. Now you're intrigued. Now that glows in the dark, it looks like a fun little game.
Hard to tell if it's that or just a black light, but no, that's super tight.
Yeah,
it's small. It's a small
small little game. Small little game. All right, so my number 3 is going to blow you away, but what is your number 3?
My number 3 is a big Kahuna. I've heard good things and I've heard bad things. Much like Alone, it's dumb expensive. The new Kickstarter is coming out. I'm probably just going to cave and buy it because...
It's called Big Kahuna, not just Kahuna?
No, it is a big Kahuna. I'm sorry. The game's called Nemesis.
I was like, I've heard of the game Kahuna, but... Okay, Nemesis.
Nemesis is Aliens, the board game.
Ooh.
Except they didn't have the name licensing to do Aliens, but it's a better Aliens game. So you're in a spaceship, and your goal is to complete a mission to get onto your pod to escape the ship because it's kind of contaminated with aliens. However, there is also a hidden traitor element to where someone can get infected, and their new goal is to make sure one of you guys doesn't make it onto that pod. So you all have your own hidden objectives. So it may be, all right, I need to go pull this plug in this room, but I need your help so we can get out there together, and you get them to go into the room, and then you lock the door on them so they're trapped. And then you get onto the pod and they die and you've completed your objective. But the goal of the game is to get everybody out. So it's such a neat game. I love Aliens, the movie. I'm a huge fan. The miniatures look just like Aliens from the movie. They didn't try to hide anything. The pieces just look phenomenal. The gameplay is just, it sounds great. I've heard things up and down. I've heard it's too overrated and it just has too much going for it. But one thing I didn't hear was that the rules were bad. And I think that's pretty important.
Yeah,
so I'm going to give it a try.
Okay. Another one that I would pick for you, Space Hulk. Check out Space Hulk. I
wanted it, but it's 2-player. Man, it's so hard to get 2-player games to my table.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine then. That's fair. That's fair.
No, I'm aware of it, and you made me aware of it, actually.
I just finished the campaign last year. We had an epic ending to that game. We had an epic. I mean, there was playing that whole campaign over the last 3 years.
Oh, wow.
We have had some, just because we just don't have the time to sit down and play it all the way through, but it has been so much fun. It's just been so much fun, and I look forward to doing it this year. It doesn't look like it's going to make it to the table just because I've got some other dungeon crawls that I need to get through. Descent. I'm getting close. If I don't finish this year on Descent, I'll definitely finish next year on all the adventures. But I do want to focus on getting through all those adventures first. But I would, out of all of them, when I replay everything again, it's definitely going to be Space Hulk because I absolutely had a great time with that. But you're right, it is 2-player. Sometimes
it looks cool, though.
I have split it up to 3-player because a lot of times the Marines are in 2 sets, 2 separate squads, and so you could do 3-player. So I've done that as 3-player a lot. I have played 2-player, but if I do have 3 people there, we'll break out Space Hulk and play it a little bit. But that's also why it doesn't come out that much because it is low player count. Mm-hmm. And so I can't bring it out as much as I could, something like a Descent or something. But Space Hulk, super fun. And Nemesis, I'll have to check this out, though.
It looks beautiful.
Okay, my number 3, worker placement. Love worker placement. Love it. One of my favorite mechanisms in a game. Always look at this. This is a game that's going to be right up your alley. In fact, I was going to impress you at BGG Spring Con and bring this out and watch your face kind of blow up. Now, you may have already known about this game. Being a magician, TriCarrier.
Never heard of this.
The game, you are a magician, and you're working on magic tricks, and you're building up. You're getting items for your magic trick. You're getting. You have assistants to help you out. You're practicing your magic trick. You're going on stage. You're trying to get a good stage presence on there, and then you're performing your magic trick for points. It is a magician's worker placement game. And it looks incredible. I mean, we're talking magicians in the 1900s, I think. You know, the old vanishing mirror and smoke and mirrors and stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
Look at you.
The pieces, it looks like some classical stuff.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
It looks like turn-of-the-century magician stuff.
It's a worker placement?
It's worker
my
placement.
Favorite.
I know.
Oh, no.
I know.
Why did you do this?
This is when you investigate this is going to soar to your number 1 right now because I know this is a game right up your alley. But the only thing, and I've been so close to buying it. It came out with an expansion, I think, recently. But I don't know much about expansion. But every time I look at it, I'm like, ooh, that board looks busy. I mean, everything looks really busy. That shouldn't scare me because I've had other games I've thought the same thing about and I was totally wrong on. And this is one that I want to play. And once I play, if I love worker placement and it's not too overly, if I get the hang of it pretty quick, then I'm all in on this one. I mean, going to track down a Kickstarter copy. You can find these available every once in a while. You're looking at, don't you love the artwork though? Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, it's so nice.
It is. Check that game out. I can't remember if Rado does a run through or someone else, but watch it played a little bit. It does look fascinating. Now, like I said, the only thing is I'm like, ooh, this looks a little too, when they try to get it's worker placement, it's also Euro style. And the problem with Euro games is they try to be a little too finicky at times. They try to add on different layers to be different, but then it becomes just a little too finicky and a little clunky. And I kind of wonder if TriCarrier is at that level. Brian Drake, I think from the Dice Tower, he's a big fan of it, obviously, because he's a magician too. But he enjoys it. But I definitely want to play this game, and I was really looking forward to bringing it out and you going, what is this? And then opening up the box and you going,
yeah.
And then us playing it together and you buying it right after the game was over. And who knows? I may buy it too, but because like I said, it's something that it looks really cool, but I want to play this one first. Now, this is high on my list, which means it could potentially be a buy later on. But this is one that I definitely, if I have a feeling I would like it, but I want to make sure, and then definitely it would have been bought.
Oh yeah, no, this is cool. I get what you say about Busy. There's a new Euro game that's been getting a god awful amount of praise, and I didn't understand any reason why. I played it 4 times, so it wasn't like I was just like I did it once. I really wanted to like it. It was from the same peeps that did Quacks and Quadelberg. I probably butchered the name, but it's about Germany and alcohol and or beer, and
oh my gosh.
I don't remember the name. You're like in this bar. It's gonna bug me, but it's an immensely popular game, but I did not find it to be even an ounce bit fun, which is apparently would surprise people based on like the reviews for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this looks great. I'm interested.
The game looks great. The artwork looks wonderful. It's got this like cigar box feel to it, meaning kind of old, rustic. There's the dark gems, smoky looking amber gems. The marker, the little player buttons are wooden with these cool little designs on them to make them look old timey. Looks like it's turn of the century, 1900s it looks, or 1800s and something. You got locks, keys, gears, trapdoors, and doves and stuff as part of your thing. It just feels really neat. I just want to play it first.
Yeah. In the game, I found the name. It's called Taverns of Tiefenthal.
Oh, that's pre-ordered for me. What's that? What do you mean by that one?
That was the one I wasn't impressed by.
Well, hopefully it's good because I went ahead and ordered it. I hope it is. But you're right.
Hope you enjoy it. It was extremely hyped, and I sat down a few times, and it felt like it was doing a lot. I mean, I won.
It didn't grab you, though.
3 out of the 4 times I played, and that also kind of detoured me. I was like, this. Why did I win so many times?
Oh, no.
I'm not the greatest at games or anything, so it's not like I'm some master, but that was the big thing. That was like a red flag. I was like, 3 out of 4 times. The 4th time, I was really just looking at other people play.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see on that.
Yeah, let me know. If you find a way a thing that you like, I'll definitely consider playing it again.
That's definitely one of the games that I pre-ordered a long time ago. I fell for the hype on that one. I usually don't fell for the hype on the new games. I was like, that looks interesting. I'll get it.
Yeah, but it's busy. It's an example of busy. It does busy, a lot. There's a lot of stuff.
TriCarrier looks very busy, but watch it play a little bit. But like I said, worker placement, man, and I like that theme. That theme's unique.
Yeah.
And it's not like modern day. It's 1800s. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's really cool. So that's my number 3. All right, so number 2.
Number 2. This is one that's been overhyped. I was gonna initially buy it, but then I found I couldn't buy it, so I felt like it was a sign that I need to play it first. Maybe I might not wait that long. Marvel Champions. I've heard great things about it. People have immensely hyped it. I'm more of a DC fan, I'll be honest with you, but with the game, Marvel itself, just seeing how I've seen a few playthroughs and just seeing how the characters interact, how they all have their own feel, and they really seen from what I've seen, feel like they fit that character very well. I've heard the solo variant is immensely popular. It's close to perfect, and even Rahdo, you being a fan of Rahdo, I believe that was one of his games of the year, if not like bouncing between a game. He was hyping it up too, so a lot of people were getting me onto that bandwagon, and it looks great.
Good, good, yeah, yeah. Go for it. My number two is a live action game, a real time game. I love the IP. I just don't know if it's worth it because Kung Fu Panda.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I love me some Kung Fu Panda,
Yeah.
and they have this live action, real time roll and play and move through the tiles and everything. But I can't find a review that really sells it to me. And I want to love the game because it looks really cool. The figures look cool. I'd even get a Kickstarter version if I could track one down. And this game came out with little or no fanfare and just kind of sailed away because I guess the Kung Fu Panda is kind of old now. I know they have a TV show on Netflix, or they did a year ago. So, but it doesn't get as much love now. But I just don't. I don't think there's any good solid reviews online for it. And I think that's why it didn't really sell that well because all the reviews I see are reviews of the upcoming Kickstarter and then a quick little Rado runs through when he was watching the game played. But I just want to see a little bit more about the game. Like I said, I love Kung Fu Panda, and I like real time, so this should be a perfect marriage for me. But I wanted to play it first. I guess that and escape the temple there. Those were some real
It
live
reminds
action.
me of it, actually.
Yeah, and it probably is very similar too. But I don't know, just because of the IP is why it got me interested, and I like
Oh,
real
yeah.
time. And I said, okay, we'll try it out. So I'd like to try out Kung Fu Panda and see if that was any good.
Yeah, that one looks cool.
Yeah.
I love Kung Fu Panda.
All right, now I got to know what was number one.
You have to know what number one is because it's the only one I haven't said, and I've talked about it for a while. I've been wanting to buy it for a long while now. I haven't found a good copy that was cheap, so I figured I'd want to play it first. I heard they're doing a reprint. That is Spartacus. Gale Force 9 is doing a reprint, but they're not using the IP of the show.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, I don't really care. I mean, the show was cool. I don't really remember too much, but I did remember enjoying it. But when I saw the artwork comparison, I was like, the original, when they use the IP, it looks more violent and intense. And
Yeah.
I'm a gladiator, bro. I'm violent. I'm trying to see blood, and I'm trying to see intensity. I'm not trying to see a clean. It's just, I definitely want the original, but it looks great. And your review and everybody else's review, and I'm a completionist, so knowing that there's those 5-card expansion that I may never get would kill me. I'm gonna get
that
them.
little mini, the Champions of Batiatus, that little mini 5-card expansion, I had no idea was so expensive because you could only get it through the online store, which they don't have anymore. I ordered this game back when it was still in the store, and I bought it. And it was like $5. I went, $5 for 5 cards? Screw that. I said, well, you know what? I'm a completist. I got to get it. And so I bought it. It may have been $7. I was thinking, dang, that's more than $1 a card. Well, now those cards are worth money.
Yeah, like $40 a piece.
I didn't know you were talking about them, but though, if you're trying to get the Champions of Batiatus,
I want it all.
you're out of luck because those things are hard to come by. Now, the one thing that's super hard, and I've seen it every blue moon, and I just can't pull my finger on the trigger on it because it's just too expensive. But the Master Game Mat,
Oh, I saw that.
it was for $200. It pops up every once in a while. I'm like, $200 for a game mat? But I love Spartacus, and I'm like, but I can't pay $200, and it will not, and it sells out. Guy had 4, he was selling for $200 pop, and they were gone that day. I was like, you are kidding me.
For that, we're at an age now where like printing your own mats is cheap. I would just scan the board and print it myself. I know I'm terrible, but
Someone could probably do that, but this was the big master one that covered the table, that had spots for your cards, had spots for your, player board. I was like, because I got the big, what's it called, the whole damn verse map from Firefly, and really loved that one. I didn't get their Vera edition, which is everything, where all the cards get placed and everything, because I don't have any table big enough to hold that mat. But I was like, man, I love Spartacus, my number 3 game of all time. It is just so stinking good. Gale Force 9 at their absolute best. I love Gale Force 9. And I know why they dropped the IP, because nothing's going on with it anymore. And no one really knows it.
Yeah, makes sense.
I get it. But you are right. The new art is very vanilla. And it's kind of weird that when you're talking about a violent arena battle, you make the board game so vanilla. I'm shocked they went with that artwork, because they can have good artwork, but it seems like they're using the same guy they used from the Firefly Adventures. It seems like it's the same person. They're using the same artist, and that guy just doesn't know how to do violence. So they should have just gone with a new artist for Spartacus. But I mean, maybe the only way you can get the House of Batiatus card. You never know. You never know. But I'll be honest, all the champions are very good. There's a reason there are a lot, because those are super duper cards you can get down. But that's what makes the bidding even more fun. When one of those powerful cards come out, oh man, you hear the coin just lose. You're losing coin from your hand, man, when that happens.
I want to watch the series 2 through and through. I remember my dad telling me about how after season 1, the main character passed, and they got a guy who looks exactly like him to play everything after that, which sounds crazy to me.
He doesn't look exactly like him, but and the thing
Really?
is, he doesn't act like the guy from the first series, and it's tough. I made a suggestion to a buddy of mine. Watch season 1 and 2. Season 2 is like a prequel series. It's like a 60 mini series. Not really season 2. It's the prequel. But you watch the first one, watch the prequel, and then take about 6 months off. Just don't watch season 2 and 3 yet. That way, when you get to season 2 and 3, you won't realize, that they've replaced the actor. You'll forget who that main guy was, and then you'll enjoy it more. If you watch it all the way straight through, you'll be I was very confused when I popped in the official season 2. I was like, who's that guy? Why is everyone calling him Spartacus? He doesn't sound like Spartacus. Well, that's because the actor died. They had to replace him, and he's just doing his best. And later on, you do get a little bit better feel for him in season 3. But you do need to, and it worked for my buddy, because he stepped away and then came back and went, hey, who did you tell me was replaced? Because I can't remember. I said, never mind, you're doing great, keep going. He said, was it Spartacus? I said, yeah. He went, so this isn't the same guy? I said, no. He went, I've just forgotten. I said, yeah, that's why you have to wait 6 months in between watching season 1 and 2. You can watch the prequel season, but after that, you're going to want to watch more. Sadly, the first season and the prequel season are the best, because when they're in the arena, it's so much fun. Season 2, they're not in the arena that much. Of course, they're on the run fighting the Roman soldiers. It's nice, but not the same. And season 3 is great because it's got Cassius in it, and he's just a fantastic villain. And it has a beautiful ending too. The whole show is really good. It's not for kids though. This is back when Stars was like, hey, we're Stars. We can be like Skinamax, right? So, I mean, there is dongs and boobs and everything you could think of.
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones kind of thing.
Yeah, just about every... It's funny because even when they're getting it on, there's plot points happening. They're talking. You're like, oh, come on. So, but then the next moment, it's all bloody and gory. You're like, yes. And then here comes the nudity again. You're like, really? So it's like they had to balance out. They had to get the, what does a raging, hormonal teen love? He loves violence and he loves sex. So, I mean, that is your show, man. But the thing is, though, it is a really fun show. I'll never watch that with my children, but I do enjoy that show. And the books, there's 2 books that came out, and they're fantastic. I just reread them this past year, and they're still good. They feel like the series. So it's and I love the game too. Everything about Spartacus. That's a great choice for your number 1. I'd gladly play Spartacus. Jacob would not. My cousin, my nephew, he would not play it because he's the one that doesn't like it. But I would definitely play it with you, and we would have. It's just so much fun. All right, my number 1 is a game that I probably will buy when it eventually comes out. And ironically enough, we talked about this just recently. I recently revealed it. I love the theme so much because all you're doing is waiting in line. It's called Kojaka or Koljka or whatever, and it's a Polish game where you are waiting. It takes place in the 1980s in Poland when there was a shortage in goods and people had to wait out in line and fight to get their place in line just to get a few items. There wasn't much in the stores. They were just buying whatever was there. And so in this game, you're basically waiting in line to get that maybe one item that pops up in your store. And that seems aggravating. Why would you want a game where all you do is wait in line? But as I thought about it, I was like, man, this looks fun. Every once in a while, the game appears for auction on BGG. And I pass it up every time. And if you pass it up, someone is going to bin that game. You can get the game, but you need the international version because that has English in it. The regular Polish edition you can find anywhere for cheap, $30. You know, you can get that game, but it's all in Polish. Now, I'm sure you could print out. I could probably sleeve all the cards and print it out and do fine. You know, but I don't want that. I want the English version of that game.
I agree.
And so that's the thing that's tough to find. And I've been looking for it now a little bit more aggressively now that we're not going to go to BGG Spring Con. But I really wanted to play this game first. I said, is a game about standing in line really that fun? And the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I just love the theme so much about standing in line. I got to have the game. So the next time I see the international version, that's sold. But I want it with the expansion too, which is even harder to find.
What is this game called?
Cole JKA. Koljka. Cole's with a K. The artwork looks atrocious. It's pictures of real people's faces over stickman characters. It's really weird. But the history of the game, I think the Visiting Bureau of Poland sells this game. I mean, it's a state-owned game to teach you about Poland history. And so you could buy it in Poland. Like Jamie bought that game in England. You can only buy in England. This is a game you could only buy in Poland. And that's why it makes it a little hard. Now, there's a billion for sale in Poland ones, but it's the Polish edition. The international edition is the English version, and that's the harder one to find because we want that game. And it's not that popular. It looks like a package, an old paper-wrapped package with string around it. You're checking it out now.
Yeah.
It looks kind of boring. You're like, no. Watch Rahdo's run through for it. And as the more I thought about it, I was like, this game looks fun. So next time the international version comes out, I'm probably going to go ahead and pull the trigger on that one. But I would like to play this game first. It does look neat.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
Cool.
Standing in line. There you go.
Who would have known?
Who would have known? Who would have known? How smart is that? So there you go. There is our top 10 games that we wanted to play at BGG Spring Con. Wow, we went over an hour, but broke my rule of the hour rule here.
No!
I know it's so much. I'm just going to have to cut off your answers and put mine. I'm kidding. But you know what? We did a top 10 instead of a top 5, so we still didn't do that bad. But anyway, okay, so folks, be sure to check out Bernardo on Tabletop Island on YouTube. Comes out with new videos Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Even though I haven't seen today's video, I'm sure it's up. I'm sure if I check YouTube, it's up. Because Bernardo never lies to me. But anyway, so check out. There's new reviews coming out every other week on certain days whenever Bernardo feels like it. But do check him out. Dude, thanks a lot for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, man. It's always a pleasure.
All right, folks. We'll see you next time on more Saturday Morning Samoflange.